Okay, let's dive in.
Hmm.
We're tackling a pretty crucial area today, AI ethics, and specifically a concept the source material calls depend and defend.
Right. Depend and defend.
Yeah, we've got some excerpts here from a source titled AI Ethics, Depend and Defend. And really, our mission, I think, is to unpack this ethical pitfall that seems to be happening right now with AI content.
Yeah, and figure out what our responsibility actually looks like, in this current phase.
Exactly, because the source jumps right into this concern about something that feels, well, almost mundane, just copying and pasting AI-generated stuff.
It does seem simple, but the warning is quite strong.
Yeah.
The source says this is basically violating a key ethical principle.
That very depend and defend idea.
Precisely. It argues we need to actively defend the ethical value of the AI we're starting to depend on.
And what really stood out to me was this specific concern they included. It's from a certificated paralegal.
Oh, yeah. What do they say?
Well, they're apparently seeing this copy and paste method being pushed, sometimes by folks looking for, quick wins.
Oh, the get-rich-quick angle with AI.
Kind of. The source actually calls them one-day millionaires.
Oh.
And this paralegal sees it as just blatant disregard for intellectual property rights.
Wow. Okay, so connecting that simple action directly to IP issues.
Yes.
That's pretty direct.
It is. And the source puts this whole thing into a bigger picture, a framework they call the 3Ds of AI.
Right, the 3Ds. That's decoding, developing, and depending. It's like stages, sort of.
Stages, okay.
Yeah, so decoding was, figuring out how AI even works. Developing was building the models, getting them functional. We've done a lot of that.
So the argument is we're past just decoding or developing now.
Largely, yes. The source says we are firmly in the depending era now. We rely on these systems a lot.
Okay. Depending, that makes sense. We use them daily.
Exactly. And this is where that core idea comes in, depend and defend.
Ah.
If we're depending on AI this much for tasks, information, even creating things, then the responsibility, it shifts.
Shifts how?
Well, it shifts to us, the users. We depend on it. So the source argues we have to be the ones defending the ethical values we want it to have.
So it's not just the developer's problem anymore or, the AI's problem. It lands on the user.
That's the argument, yeah. The ethical heavy lifting falls to us. The source sees AI ideally as this learning machine.
Right.
Something that helps us, enhances our own thinking, not just a replacement.
It should augment our intellect, not just substitute it.
Exactly. It helps us, enhances us.
Okay, so that brings us right back to the start, doesn't it? This whole copy and paste thing. In this view, it's not just lazy, it's actually failing to do that defense work.
Failing to defend a part of depend and defend, especially like that paralegal said, around things like intellectual property.
Right. So if you depend on the AI for content, but then you don't defend the principles around its use, like checking IP, maybe adding attribution.
Then you're undermining the whole ethical structure you want the AI to operate within. You're not holding up your end of the bargain, so to speak.
Makes sense. You depend, so you must defend.
Which really leads to a pretty provocative thought, one the source kind of leaves hanging there for you, the listener.
Okay.
If we accept this idea that because we depend on AI, we humans are now responsible for defending its ethical existence and how it's used, what does that actually mean for you? What specific things does that responsibility require you to do when you use an AI tool tomorrow?
That's definitely something to think about. What are those tangible actions?
Exactly. What does defending AI ethics look like in your everyday interactions with it?